How's it going, guys? So this video is going to be on the bed rails, the sideboards. So this is going to be pretty short and sweet. If you saw my other video on the Rockler Mortise bed rail hardware, that kind of goes along with this. I made that a separate video on its own just for the simple fact of how long it was. And number two, I wanted to kind of separate that from everything else so that people could watch a video just on that, installing that, since I had a hard time finding information on how to do that the best way. The bed rails are going to be 80 inches long. All my stock is all 6 inches in width by 1.5 inches thick. So 80 inches long is what you need to cut everything to. I don't have a video of me cutting them 80 inches long because there's no point in you watching that. So 80 inches long, and here we go. Alright, so for the bed rails, I am going to do some dowels in the ends. Basically that's just to add some grain or straight grain for the screws to bite into when you're putting in the hardware. So these are 3/4 inch dowels that I've drilled with a 3/4 inch Forstner bit about 3/4 of the way through the board. So it's not all the way through, it's only about 3/4 of the way through, but that should give my drill bits, or I'm sorry, screws, some good biting strength, because end grain is not the best to drill into. Once you get those done, you just glue them in and flush trim the dowels. I'm only going to do 2. I'm not going to do this center one here. I think 2 will look fine and should provide more than enough strength. So not doing the 3rd one, just ignore this one. This is just a sample, but I think this is what it'll somewhat look like. I'm doing these on the inside of the board, not the outside, because I just didn't want them seen. That's up to you. You can add a little decorative touch by using them on the outside, but for my bed, it just didn't go with the rest of the bed, so it's going to be on the inside. So let's get started. We're just going to take the dowels and just a tad bit of glue, since these aren't an actual joint. I'm not too concerned about them staying in there real well. So just a tad bit of glue on the side just to keep them in there. I threw a little in the bottom. Like I said, just to kind of keep it in there. It's not really meant to Okay, so once the glue is dried, we'll just come back with our flush trim bit and not flush trim bit, flush trim saw, and trim these dowels. We'll just take our sander and sand away the rest. Alright, so here's what it looks like now that it's all stained and finished. So they're nice and flush. Like I said, you can use these for a nice decorative touch. Now I just put stain over them since they're going to be on the inside, so they're kind of staying the same color. But if you used wood that you're not going to stain, you know, putting in a nice walnut dowel or something like that, some contrasting color would look pretty cool. but I just chose not to do that for my bed. So that's what it looks like on the inside, just as a finishing touch. It should give the joint a nice strong, or the screws a nice strong grip.